Good evening, I'm Ashley Clardy. I'm majoring in marketing and a member of the women's volleyball team, and I'm honored to introduce our second speaker, Walter Salek. Walter is a longtime Elmhurst resident and an active member of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce. He has lived in Elmhurst for more than 30 years and brings a deep understanding of how our community's local businesses can thrive in an ever-changing marketplace. He currently serves as an adjunct faculty member here at Elmhurst University's School of Business, where he teaches courses on analytics and the use of generative AI in business strategy. Beyond academia, Walter has a broad background as a supply chain and AI consultant, helping organizations harness emerging technologies to streamline operations and connect more effectively with customers. He's also the board president of the Elmhurst Yorkfield Food Pantry, where his leadership combines data-driven insight with a heart for community service. Today, he'll share practical ways that local businesses can use generative AI to market, grow, and gain a creative edge right here in Elmhurst. Please welcome Walter.
Tonight we're going to step through the looking glass. So if you've used generative AI before, you'll get something. If you've never used it before, this is kind of a perfect place to start. So I'm going to wear two hats tonight. One is as a teacher, and the second as somebody who runs a, let's say, not so small business. So the Elmhurst Yorkfield Food Pantry feeds 840 families a month, and a third of our food stays here. We have 190 volunteers per month, 7 staff, and 12 folks on the board. We buy about 2/3 of our food and we recover the rest. We recover food every day. So when I'm going to kind of give you a practice thing, I've already done it for the food pantry. I'm going to share that first, and then I'm going to give you time to practice. So this would be a great time to take your devices out and make sure you're connected. So when I look at my phone, I have 1 or 2 bars, but if you go to the Wi-Fi, you're going to see a guest login. And if you click on that, then you should be able to create an account or get in with just your email. So what you can see on the screen right now is 5 of the more common generative AI models. So if you wanted to get on OpenAI or ChatGPT, you'd go on to openai.com, and it would open something that looks like this, where you're going to see a browser window in the middle. That's where you're going to type stuff. So let me go back. It could be ChatGPT, it could be Gemini from Google, it could be Copilot, Claude, or Perplexity. Okay, so I get asked a lot, which is my favorite? And I think what I wind up using is a combination of 2 or 3 of them. So how many folks used a generative AI today? How many folks use it today? Excellent. How many used it this week? Okay, pick up a few more. All right, so you're not going to need this intro part where you have what's called the prompt window, which is where you're going to type in the things that I'm going to ask you. But a real quick pro tip is if you want to put in another line, you hit and hold the shift key and then hit enter if you want to keep typing. Because once you hit enter, then it's just going to kind of go. All right, so let's take the first thing that we're going to practice with. So for your business, think about what your tagline is, and we're going to ask generative AI to write 3 more. 1 quirky, 1 compelling, and 1 billboard-like. So if you went on the Elmhurst Yorkfield Food Pantry website, you'd see Food, Compassion, Hope is beneath our logo. So let's take Food, Compassion, Hope, and I'm going to say, in this prompt down at the bottom, write 3 new versions of my business's tagline, quirky, compelling, and 1 for a billboard. All right, so what did I get back? What you'll see on the left side of the screen is Gemini. And it'll have a new quirky tagline, have a new compelling tagline, and a new billboard tagline. To just get a little more diversity, I ran it again, but in Gemini. And that's what you should see on the right side of the screen. So you'll see the quirky one and then the compelling one. I kind of read them all and none of them jumped out at me, except the billboard one that said, need food, question mark, we're here, need hope, we're that too. I could kind of see that on Route 83 on a billboard. So, all right. So what I'd like you to do now is your first practice round. So take your business's tagline or a marketing line and then fill it in, like here, your tagline, and then type those words. Write 3 new versions of your business's tagline, quirky, compelling, billboard, and then hit enter. All right, so how are folks doing? Seeing some thumbs up, seeing some answers? All right. Does anybody want to share what it came back with, like something that's kind of jumping out at you? Okay. Really? So what was the billboard? Okay. 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 Right. So what I encourage my students when they have an assignment to do is to use 2 or 3 models. And then you be the person at the end and go, hey, I like this piece, I don't like this piece, I like this piece, and then you wind up adding things. All right. So a way that I like to think about generative AI is that as a person, you have so much cognitive capacity. So as a person, we're going to think and read and learn and remember, but you run into what's called the cognitive load. So you can only take much. What generative AI does, it's a computer program that lets you extend that cognitive load without really being creepy about it. So I can give it some of the work that my cognitive load was pulling, and that it can do it for me. So for me to sit and write those 3 things, fun and quirky, I would have used a lot of brain power and probably not come up with the same kind of billboard. So I often get the question, why don't you just use search? So let's compare search, which would be Google or Bing, DuckDuckGo, and compare that with what Gen AI would do. All right, hopefully not a controversial question. What is the best Mexican restaurant in Elmhurst? So if I put that into Google, it's going to search every website, look at the index results, and basically try to give me an answer. ChatGPT is going to do something similar, but what it wants to do is generate new information. And it tries to become more of a thinking partner. So I ran that exact question, and I did it in DuckDuckGo. So what's the best Mexican restaurant in town? Well, the first thing it gave me back was an ad. I don't want an ad for Open Table. I want to know somewhere to eat. I don't want to go to Yelp. I don't want to go to TripAdvisor. So then on the right side of the screen, it did give me 3 places. It gave me Guac and Tac, Primos, and Curito. I don't really know that Curito is a Mexican food. And no, it's not a Mexican food place. So with a search engine, and a lot of companies and maybe some of your businesses have spent money on search engine optimization so that you get a result that takes care of your business. But then folks see that it's an ad. All right, so what did ChatGPT do? Well, it did one thing really weird. You can see in the red box on the left side. I had searched for other travel things, and I said I wanted offbeat. It remembered that. All right, so but it came back with a similar result. Primos was its number 1. And it went a little deeper because it gave a picture, and then it said, I think you should go to Primos because of these reasons. And then it went one step deeper after that and said, if you're looking for street taco casual, Cilantro, which is north of North Avenue, or if you want to go on a date night, Primos is really the place to go. But it's different because it gave you a deeper level of information. So you probably know where this is going. What if you put your business in there? What is the best gym in Elmhurst? What is the best realtor in Elmhurst? What is the best bank in Elmhurst? Yeah, gloves are off, I know. So take a search engine and type that prompt in. What is the best, maybe fitness center, gym, I don't know if you want to call that, in Elmhurst or in a broader region?
Would you start a new chat for that on Gemini?
Yeah. So, or if you're a developer who works in a broader region, you could say, I don't know, what's the best commercial real estate developer in DuPage County? And let's see what you get back. So did your business pop?
Yes.
And did it give the reasons that you wanted it to give beneath that?
I asked why, and it said everything that we're positioning.
Okay. So when it said everything you're positioning, did it lift it off your site, or do you feel like it was kind of a compilation? Yeah.
I think it's a compilation.
Okay. Jennifer?
So I have a question.
Yep.
If Judith is on chat, does her chat know that it's her?
Yes.
And so it's going to be like, I better schmooze her, or
So that's a great question.
I'm gonna try
like, is
Gemini.
it going to tell me what I want to hear?
Yes.
Well, to some extent, yes. So one thing to mention is there's a free level, so where you can do kind of a certain amount of stuff. The next level up is usually a $20 a month. ChatGPT is the same as Gemini, is the same as Copilot, and they kind of have some stuff behind the locked door. You can get a little bit more there. There's a $200 a month, which, yeah, that's the pro version, and you got to be coding to justify that. So to be transparent, I have the $20 version because I work a little more and it opens up some more things. If you're on Google and you're on Gemini and you've logged in on your Google account, it absolutely knows who you are. Yeah. At the end, I'll give you a couple creepy questions that you can ask. But, yeah. Okay. Any other results from your business? Yeah. Good. Did it bring your business back? Scott, I hope FFC came up number one. It should. Okay. Now let's get into generating a little more content. So what we're going to do now is, as a practice, to develop content for 3 infographics for a social media campaign. And there's a bank in town that's running a peanut butter and jelly drive for us this holiday. So I want to have 3 social media posts that I can turn into an infographic, put on our Facebook, put on our LinkedIn to maybe get people to go to the community bank and maybe donate something. All right. So what I'm going to do that's a little different is I'm going to give 2 context lines, which is I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the food pantry, how many people we serve, prices are going up, and then this is the prompt. Write 3 social media posts that can be turned into an infographic for the peanut butter and jelly drive. All right. So this is what the first one looked like. Yeah. So from a marketing standpoint, it gives you the post, it gives you a headline, the body copy, the tagline, and the infographic ideas. I copy this whole thing, put it back into Gemini, and it made the infographic. Now you'd stop and say, hey, Walter, there's a couple words that aren't spelled right here. Absolutely. Yeah, so you kind of have to be the human in the loop. You have to check things instead of just running with it. I mean, they got our logo right, the other stuff looks pretty well. I mean, they got food, compassion, and hope in there. But yeah, you can go back in and edit and say, hey, could you spell groceries correctly? Yeah. Take a look at number 2. So again, the same thing. It made a post, it gave us a headline, has body copy, tagline, and a footer. Made some kind of happy peanut butter and jelly looking jars with a nice grocery bag. Still struggled spelling that word, but that's a very easy cleanup. I'd give it one more prompt, check the spelling on groceries. Yeah.
When you click on the ad, does it play the peanut butter and jelly song?
So, you can create video. So, Google has a video, but the best video is Sora 2, which is within ChatGPT, which is a separate subscription price, of course. Yeah, so. Yeah, we're not going to do video today. That would have taken too long. All right, and then lastly, to be a lunchbox hero. So when I gave it the prompt, it came back with these 3, and then turned those into the graphics. All right, time for you to practice. So think about a campaign or a promotion that your business is running now. And then what you would type in is 1 or 2 lines about your business, and then the prompt would be, write 3 social media posts that can be turned into an infographic for. All right, so then let's take that and we're going to go one level further. So I said before that ChatGPT or GenAI can also act as a conversation partner. So we're going to do the same thing. I want 3 ideas to get to an infographic. I'm going to give you the same information, but I want you to ask me questions one at a time until you have enough information to come up with 3 ideas. So I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to ask ChatGPT to start doing some work. So it's the same thing. I want to do the donations to the food pantry. So then I said, ask me questions. So somebody said it does kind of suck up to you a little bit. It does at the beginning. Hey, that's a great goal. You should do this. Here's my first question. What's the primary target? And I said, I want to stay in the Elmhurst area. They said, okay, that's great. That's helpful. What's the single most urgent or effective thing that people can do? Well, they can make a donation to go toward holiday meals. So then it said, hey, I've got enough information. So from those 2 questions, it had enough information to then give me these 3 ideas. The format is similar. It's not exactly the same, but you have a headline, a main visual, call to action, and then a supporting text, so that you should be able to copy this, put that back into ChatGPT or Gemini, and then it's going to generate an infographic. I actually like the one that said full plate. It kind of resonated with me a little more. They got our logo. They got Food, Compassion, Hope. Probably needs a little cleanup in here, but I would say that infographic is probably 85% of what we could use. So at the food pantry, we like buying eggs. We don't like spending money on like graphic artists or other things like that. So anytime we can do this, like in-house, basically for free, that's the way that we're going to go. All right, so did that give you something different compared to where you ran it the last time? When you asked, or when you had it ask you a question? Yes, no, a couple of yeses, couple of, okay. All right. So what I wanted to leave you with is a kind of guideline about how you would do prompting. So you don't have to do this word for word, but you want to think about 6 things when you're going to write a prompt. So who's the person or who's the role you wanted to have that perspective? What do you want it to do? What are context or constraints you have on there? What's some input? What's the format or the structure? And what's the tone or the style? So the food pantry for the first year, we did an annual appeal letter. So if I think about these 6, we wanted ChatGPT to be an expert in writing an annual appeal letter. We also wanted it to write a 1-page compelling letter. And we wanted it to start each paragraph with a punchy catch, and then write 2 or 3 sentences beneath that. We wanted it in a compassionate and concise tone. So we dropped our letters at the post office yesterday. This is what it looked like. Now, Elmhurst, we need you more than ever. Hunger is rising here. Prices are here. This is where you come in, and then we make the ask. There's 12 people on our board. They would have loved to have taken a month or 2 to write this. And yeah, it's not fun writing like a sentence in a group. So we had ChatGPT do a bulk of the lifting, and then we just did some editing. All right, so you can also use this for quick, simple writing. Like if I had to write a thank you note to the Monday night crew, I could go through these same 6 steps to say, well, I want you to be an expert in, thanking our volunteers. I want a 2 to 3 sentence note. This is what happened Monday. This is some more about the clients, and write it in a compassionate tone. What's interesting is you can have it write it, and then it would say it. You can say, I didn't really like that. Write me 3 more versions, or write me 2 more versions. Write a version that's more sincere. Write a version that's funnier. And then you can basically take what you need from that. So from a tip standpoint, the way the models have evolved, it's best to have a goal up front to say, I'm trying to do this, assign a role, give it some examples. There's an interesting tone thing, and I don't mean this to sound like judgy in a weird way. You can have it written and then say, make it more Elmhurst. What the heck does that mean? But it works. So you could say, make this more compassionate. So whatever you want, it's however much you want to edit. My only caution would be is you want to be at a just right level. All right, so then here's how the Monday night volunteer notes turned out. All right, one last topic. Generative AI is also great with data. So if you have a really big spreadsheet, like this is our client visit spreadsheet, I can just put the spreadsheet into ChatGPT and then say, analyze this for any interesting results. Not a very detailed prompt, not a very complex prompt. What it comes back with is it will break everything down. So it'll sweep through the data, it'll tell me how many records I had, how many unique clients, and then it'll break it down by city. So about 1/3 of our food stay here, and then it breaks it all down. Of course, it's going to be helpful at the end. Hey, would you like me to make some charts for you? Yeah. So it can also be a tutor for Excel. If you're having trouble getting Excel to do something, you could upload your Excel file and then just ask for help. All right, so what is it good at? What is it not good at? It's very good at generating content. That's the G in GPT. It can look at data very quickly. It can answer questions, and it can provide feedback very well. So if you've written an ad or a presentation, you can upload that to ChatGPT and ask it to be a critic. So what do you like about this? What do you not like about this? And then it'll give you feedback to that. What it's not good at, it can't learn without you. So it has its training data. You may give it a little more data, but that's kind of about it. Based on how it was trained, it may have a bias, and that bias may show up, which is why I encourage you to use more than one model, because ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude are not going to all be biased in the same manner. So you get a variety of opinions that you, being the human in the loop, can then work that out. Sometimes it makes stuff fun. It just makes stuff fun. So you got to be the human in the loop and check it. I would not use this for a legal opinion. I would not use this for a medical opinion. Because it wants to give you an answer, so it's going to generate something, which may or may not be fact good. So I encourage you as you go from here to practice, use it every day. And if you don't know how to write a prompt, you could ask generative AI, I'm trying to do this, write a prompt for me, which is kind of weird, because then it's going to write the prompt, it's going to give me the prompt, and I'm going to give the prompt right back to it. And hopefully it's going to do what I wanted it to do. But it works. Okay, what did I not talk about tonight? generative AI can do a lot more. It can do market research, and it can research your competitors. This is definitely what's behind the $20 version. So for a group of MBA students, I had a case study where Panera was going to launch a protein bagel. So then I had to do a market research for us. Basically, if they were going to launch a protein bagel, who are the competitors? What's the size of the market? What's the price point? McDonald's popped as a competitor. So, and that was all for free. Normally, you'd have to pay somebody to do that. That's fine. It can also test new market ideas or products on what you would define as an ideal customer. So this is my customer and I understand them. I'm going to bump my quarter pounder by 50 cents. Ideal customer, how are you going to react to that? You can take large amounts of text-based data. So if you get a lot of information on like a Google review or on Facebook, you can take a set of that, put it into the chat, and ask for it to synthesize the comments by themes. Normally that would have taken a person very long. It does a wonderful job with that. Talked about itself. It can make videos. That's kind of a different skill set, and you really have to try things differently. It can give feedback on content acting as a specific person or as a specific group. So if one happened to be a student and you happen to know the grading and the assignment, you could put your assignment into ChatGPT and say, acting as a business professor, grade my assignment. Yeah, not that my students have ever done that, but yes. The weird thing that works is after you've worked on something, you can give it the prompt to make it better. So like, hey, where's the ingenuity? Where's the mankind? There's nothing, but make it better works. What's better? How does it know what's better? It knows what's better because of everything you told it before. I get asked for recommendations all the time. I follow two people, Ethan Malik and Jeff Stu. If you're either on LinkedIn or YouTube, they are my go-to people. Ethan Malik is brilliant, and he's kind of my leading edge person. There's a bunch of Coursera courses that are out there that I think are really good. And the Wharton School of Business keeps a prompt library if you really want to nerd out about this. Last but not least, if you're so inclined to donate to the food pantry, we would be happy to have that. And if you want to continue this discussion, there's my contact information.